at about 15 years old, I was yearning. I was yearning for attention, affection. I didn't know what the void was that I was missing. At this point, I know what it was, but at that point, I didn't. I was very promiscuous. I wanted attention from a male aspect. I ended up getting pregnant at 15 years old. I had my son a few months shy of me turning 16 years old. I believe that God was trying to get my attention, and I wasn't ready. The one thing I never did was I never played with God, though. I didn't have this in and out relationship. I didn't entertain it. And so now again, looking back, I'm like, okay, that was a moment where you try to get my attention. And what I also learned is God's timing and our timing are two different timings.
Hi, and welcome to another episode and another season of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. Here on this platform, we bring to you voices of women that are out there making a positive impact in their lives, in their family, and in the community around them. Women of resilience, women of faith, women who have battled through something and they were bold enough, strong enough to turn around and grab the hand of another sister and pull them through and be a witness. Today, I am so excited to introduce to you my guest today, a truly inspiring guest today. One who has a story filled with heartbreak, resilience, redemption, and unwavering faith. Our guest today is one of 10 children. And after losing a mother at a young age and navigating the trials of teen motherhood and living her life without knowing her father, only to fast forward 38 years, just when life seemed to have settled, to be introduced to her father that she never knew. Our guest today also adds in a second chance at love and the unshakable faith that carried her through it all. This journey today that our guests have went through, she comes here to share how she navigated those waters and how she found a way to persevere and turn around and share her story with us today. So we ask that you all lean in, and I'm so excited to introduce my guest today, Miss Sara Meeks. Hi, Sara. Welcome to the Well. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Sara. You come with a story that many of us can resonate with. But instead of me talking about your story, I want you just to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your childhood, being one of 10. Tell us a little bit about how you grew up.
I want to first go back to your introduction. There was a word that you used, and it is so funny because God is... it doesn't matter how long you're in relationship with Christ, right? Every time he blows my mind, right? Every time he affirms, right? I'm just always like at awe and stuck on the verbiage to use to even describe the feeling, right? And so I always say, it's just so crazy. I have, over the course of maybe the last year, probably shorter than that, about 6 months, the word resilience. That word has been used maybe about 3 or 4 different times to describe me. And so for you to come on and introduce me and use the word resilience, I thank you. I thank you, Jesus, for just right now, even in the beginning. I actually, if I could be honest, right, I actually was going to cancel. The enemy is a father of lies. And so I was sitting here and I'm like, Sara, you're in the middle of a storm. Like, you're in the middle of something right now. There is nothing that you can offer right now. But I've always been one to say that I never want to give my testimony at the end of the testimony, that I always want to be able to come and deliver a word in the midst of a storm, because that is when it's most relatable. So many people could come and say, oh, I 2 years ago, God told me to just give up my house. My house was foreclosed, or I had to sell my house and I had to go stay with this person, or I had to struggle. And 2 years later, here I am, and I have this new home, and I have this new. But what about when you were in the middle of that foreclosure? What about when you were in the middle of having to leave that home? What was the discomfort? What were the feelings, the emotions? What were you doing in the midst of that? And so I had to tie up my bootstraps. Okay. Say, no, the devil is a lie from the pit of hell. And I'm going to come and I'm going to give whatever it is, God, because I didn't have an agenda. And so I said, whatever it is that you're drawing me to say on this platform, here it is. Full transparency. I am ready and I am able and I'm willing. Okay.
Yes, Sarah, come on.
Sorry about that. So, this is an interesting question, because I'm in a season where Sarah's trying to find Sarah again. And so whenever I'm asked, introduce yourself, who are you? I always associate myself to my children, to being a mother. I associate myself to a wife. I associate myself, to my employer. It's always about other people and not about me.
Yes.
So Sarah is someone who is newly trying to find herself. Sarah is someone who is realigning herself with Christ in full submission. It is, I heard someone speak and it resonated in me, and it says, you have to have faith that is unconditional. Because faith or obedience with conditions is not faith or obedience.
No.
And so, yes, I am saved. Yes, Jesus is my Lord and Savior. But a lot of times my actions don't line up with what I spew from my mouth. And so I am in a season of my actions lining up with Christ. And so that is who I am, trying to find myself in submission with Christ, giving myself grace and patience. I am a child, a sibling to, I have 10 other siblings. All of my siblings are Caucasian. I am the only half black, half white sibling, the youngest.
Okay.
All of my siblings were regular births. Here I come. My mom was, I believe, 42 when she found out she was pregnant with me. I was delivered via C-section, the only one. So I knew I had to be something special from the womb.
Come on.
Because I couldn't even take the same exit as my other siblings, okay? I had to come through a whole nother way, okay? So I considered there was some type of oil over me, okay? And so growing up in a household, and I'm the youngest, my mom was 42 when she had me. I did not know my father. It was a lot of struggles. Identity was the main one. I'm not even in a place amongst people who look like me, who could relate to me. I remember days where my friends' parents had to do my hair. There was times where I had to have my head shaved. That was about an inch or two, because my mom didn't know how to do my hair. Those goodie brushes, the ones that are not for our hair.
Correct.
So my mom would brush the front and just put it in a ponytail. And so one day a friend's mom, she said, let me do your hair. She took it down and I had dreadlocks, about 3 or 4, matted in the middle of my head. And so they had to shave my hair off. I never knew my father. And so at about 15 years old, I was yearning. I was yearning for attention, affection. I didn't know what the void was that I was missing. At this point, I know what it was, but at that point, I didn't. So I was very promiscuous. I wanted attention from a male aspect. I ended up getting pregnant at 15 years old. I had my son a few months shy of me turning 16 years old. A month prior to me graduating, I got a phone call that my mother passed away. I was 17 years old at this point. And my mother was gone. And so all I had was my mom. Uh, and after that, I did, by the grace of God, it was only by the grace of God that I still graduated high school, because I was in a rebellious state even before my mother passed. I was not looking toward the future. I was just hanging out, having fun, going through the front door of the building of the school, going out the back. And, some people are probably like, well, why did you even waste your time going to the school? Well, they had childcare. So I had to drop my son off, and I had to put a kid. I wanted to hang out. And so, drop him off and go about my business. And so it was literally God's plan and design for my life for me to graduate. And I graduated. I was 20 with 2 kids. And so life was hard. Life was very, very hard.
Keep going, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
No, keep going. I was just moving.
Yeah. So, again, just looking for things in the wrong people, jumping from relationship to relationship. And, here I am now, 22 children living in subsidized housing, on assistance. And, it came a point where, I believe that God was trying to get my attention. And I wasn't ready. The one thing I never did was I never played with God, though. I didn't have this in and out relationship. I didn't entertain it. And so now, again, looking back, I'm like, okay, that was a moment where you try to get my attention. And it's always when we're in a place where we've hit rock bottom, where we cry out to God. And maybe I was too naive. I was too young. I was too into myself, but I wasn't calling out to God. I just wanted to continue and have fun. I've had to stay on friends' couches, job hopping and just going from place to place. And so,
did you have a relationship with your siblings?
I did have a relationship with my siblings. For a long time, I was a little bit upset with my siblings. When my mom passed away at the point, so let me go back. I'm trying to speed up because I know we're on a time frame. When my mother passed away, I was at that point, I was with a high school boyfriend. And so I was staying with his family at this time. This was not a lifestyle by any means that I was used to. We've been on assistance since I was a kid. We had local churches coming to our house to drop off food to us. We were on food stamps, poor, dirt poor. And so it wasn't that was what I wasn't accustomed to, right? It was just, it was me and my mom. And so when I was staying with them, it was a house full of people, it was just not something that I was used to. And so I stayed there for a period of time. I was there at the point that my mom passed away, and none of my siblings came for me. I remember one of my sisters coming over to this house to come comfort me after I got the phone call and my mother passed away. And I sat there after she left, and I'm like, she just left me.
She's gone.
She's gone. Like, I'm just here now.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them are like, well, you had a baby, but I was a baby.
Right. I didn't
know anything. And the one thing about Louise, I was staying with my mother for a short period of time. And then, she even struggled even more. And so she was forced to live in a room in a stranger's home, which was why I ended up with the boyfriend. And so, I never once had any ill feelings with my mother.
Yeah, that's
my mom. I look at my mom and I said, man, there was great strength within you. You were a woman. You may not have been a perfect mother, right? I don't think any of us who have children, our children are going to come back and say, you were a perfect mom. You are a perfect dad. We all are learning as our children are growing, right? And so for me, having children now, being older now, I look at my mom and I see strength. You were a woman who had 10 children. You never gave any of your children up. You did the best you could with what you had. And so I appreciate and I value the lengths that my mother went. My mother could have just said, you on your own. But she made sure I had somewhere to go. Whether I didn't want to be there, I still had somewhere to go. And so, my siblings felt like, you got a kid and you're here, you're all right.
Yeah.
At one point, and I'm a little biased because this is my favorite sibling, my brother. At one point he did take me in, and he said you could stay here as long as you want. And I felt like it was home, and I felt like they wanted me there, right? uh but again, I want to be grown. And the lifestyle that they lived, it's very quiet. It was, you got to be home. You can't be out whenever you want to be. And I wanted to hang out. And so that it didn't last long. And so I said, I don't want to be there, but I don't want to be here. And so I said, I'm turning 18. I'm applying for some apartments. It's subsidized. I got to get out of here. And so I applied, and before I was in my senior year, and I moved out and got my own apartment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sarah, I want to ask you something. Man, I hear this in my head right now so strongly. When you started off, you said that you were at a point where you were finding Sarah's voice, if you will. Let me ask you, when did you finally get to a point where you said, you know what, I found Sarah. I'm at a place of ease. I'm at a stable place in my life right now. Talk to us about that moment.
Recently. So full transparency, because you mentioned it when you introduced me. I had my children. Fast forward, I met my husband. Him and I got together. We were not in a good space separately, right? We both were in a place of brokenness. And so we married. And again, this was from worldly perspectives. Neither one of us were saved. The marriage was rough from the beginning, before we even entered the marriage, the dating. After, the first few months, it was like that phase of the honeymoon of early relationship that was done. And it was like, this is the reality, and you've taken off your mask. I've taken off my mask, and we are two broken people. And so we were divorced in less than 5 years. We took some time apart, and that was the beginning of me learning who Christ was. And I say time and time again, when I tell you, there was times where I was in the store, and I had to decide if I wanted a roll of paper towel or a roll of tissue. And that was such a humbling, and I don't say it for pity. I don't say it for, people to think that I'm a victim, right? I value and appreciate God so much. Jesus was so present in my life. And I tell you, I got my own space. I moved into my own apartment. It was me and my children, and there was just a peace. And so that was the beginning of the process of me learning who I was, right? Just me, of getting to enjoy just the company of myself, and being okay and comfortable, right? And being able to work on those things that I needed to work on, working on my health, being back into a place of, okay, let's get fit, let's exercise, let's fill our time not with because I tried it. I did try, like, oh, let's see, what's out here. The dating pool is contaminated. It is filled with nonsense. It is filled with a whole bunch of what you doing and can I come check you? And I realized, after being somebody's wife, I already put myself up here. So I was never going to lower my standard to becoming a texting person, a come sit on my couch and Netflix and we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
But I also believe that, and I mentioned that as my starting point, because being 100% transparent, and I wasn't sure about going into this place because it's just the beginning of it. But I'm finding myself back into that space. I am in the midst of separation. You sit there and you kind of look at it and say, man, what happened, right? What transpired? Like, how do we go from this being this love story, right? And Jesus coming and taking two people and working it out and bringing them back together. A lot of times we put our hands in a lot of things. And I believe I put my hand in something to rush the process of bringing two people back together that shouldn't have. And so here I am back in the process of allowing God to do what God does, and Sarah taking her hand out of it.
So wait, when you said bring back, so did you get back with your?
We did. So, we got into it, and it was bad. It was just bad. Again, these are two people that are worldly. My husband experienced a lot of loss. It was just a lot of trying times. And we got into it one day, and at this point, um him and I had our first child together. They're all his, because he will have my head. They're all his, but we had our first together. And I woke up one day, we got into it, and he was like, "I'm leaving," and I was like, "Well, bye." And I went to school. I came home, and he was gone.
He was gone.
He was gone, cleared out. Okay, everything that resembled his presence was out of the home. And you know what? I say this, I was grateful for it.
You needed it at the moment.
Well, we both did.
Okay.
We both did. I needed to, in my eyes, he was my God.
No.
So all of these things, he was paying the bills, and anything that needed to be done, he did it. And so at this point, I'm like, oh, he doing everything. I'm content. And Jesus will come in, and he will shake some things around. You understand me? He will get your attention. Yeah. And he got my attention. And that was the best thing he could have ever done. I had to go to a place to rely solely, wholly on I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm establishing myself in you. I'm learning who you are. And I have to fully surrender and submit everything to you. Wow. Wow. But it was such an intimate time. It was such a time of peace to be able to see the hand of Christ on everything pertaining to me. And what it was I am not going to allow you to give man another ounce of credit for what I'm doing. You are going to be removed from all people, places, and things, and you are going to see the mighty hand of Jesus over your life. Over everything that happens and transpires is going to be because I did it, and your eyes are going to see that. And when I tell you, from being able to move to job to sustaining everything that happened. And let me tell you something. It wasn't it was great. It was glorious. It was just it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard. I was broken down to be built back up. And to be able, like I said, to give full submission to something you don't even know at that point.
Yeah.
To trust.
Yeah.
In this, right? But I am so grateful that I did, because if I had not, I don't even know where I would be.
Yeah. Now, you said you never play with God, which I absolutely love hearing you say that. But were there ever moments where your faith was shooken? Like, what am I doing? Like, I can't do this no more.
In that, no. So in that time, it wasn't, because it was new to me. It was new. So
you had no other choice.
I like, okay, like, I don't even know what this is. I'm just going along, right? And at that point, it was everything that I needed was happening, right? And so I'm like, okay, this is going well. This is going good. There was a time where he came back around, my ex-husband. And we entertained each other for a little while, and at this point, he was a Muslim. So I guess this is a point where you could say it was kind of, but it wasn't really shaken, right? But it was a question, because I'm new, and my husband knows the Bible front to back. Okay. So at this point, he's his family is root, and so he knows the word. And so my husband comes, and he's a Muslim, and well, you should be a Muslim. You should convert. You should come over to being a Muslim. Come to the mosque with me, And I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, is this what I'm supposed to do?
Right.
And I'm genuinely like, I
And
don't
this is all new to you.
It's new. So I'm like, well, Jesus, are you bringing him back for me to go and be a Muslim? What am I supposed to do? And I'll never forget how imperative it is, right, as a Christian, on how you speak to people, right, and
Mm.
and, and how you address people. And so there was this couple at this church that I was going to at this time, and so the wife was like, I want to talk to you. We need to talk. And so she was like, what's going on with you? Like, you was doing good, and now I don't know what's going on. You seem to be, not doing the best, and I was like, if that was it, I would have left that meeting and I would have left that church.
Oh.
But see, the Holy Spirit.
How does she know what was going on with you?
She knew
Oh,
the
okay.
story, right?
Oh, okay, got it.
And so, but she did not know that he was back and he was trying to convert me. That part she didn't know. And so God, this is how amazing, right?
Yeah.
So in the midst of this conversation, Jesus said, "Oh no, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna give clarity." Someone comes right up. Let me interrupt this conversation. Let me talk to you. And they took me and they started talking to me. And the way that they spoke to me, it wasn't a you should. Oh, so what do you think about this? Well, so where do you see this? And it was literally confirmation. And I knew leaving there, right? Oh
Yeah.
no. Oh no, I'm flat-footed. I'm standing firm on solid foundation of Jesus.
Ooh.
I'm not moving.
Yes.
I'm not shaking. I'm not called to be a Muslim. That's not a view. I'm gonna be where I'm gonna be. And so I told him, I said, it was New Year's service, and I came home and I said, you're not gonna come to the pews and sit with me, and I'm not gonna go to the mosque and sit with you. And he said, no. He said, I'll be gone in the morning. And so in the morning he packed up and he left again. And in that time, it was such a peace. There was such a peace because now I had Christ. And I was rested in knowing that I stood on what he was calling me to stand on.
Come on.
And so that was one of my first tests. And so I stood firm, right? And I kept going. I kept just plowing and doing what God was calling me to do. And sometime later he came back around, and what he said to me was, he surrendered and he was saved. And that's what got me, because he was calling me, playing songs and sending flowers, and 1 minute calling and going off on me, the next minute calling and I love you, and all of that I didn't care about. But it was at the moment where he confessed, and I said, oh, okay. And so we came back together. We remarried. We've been together now over 10 years.
Okay.
And so now, right, I feel like I'm in a place of where I'm like, I right now, Jesus, I right now, I know you're here. I know you're here, right? But I need you a little bit more today. I need you a little bit more today.
I love that prayer, Sarah. I love that prayer, Sarah. Sarah, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You just told a whole good story.
Yeah. It's a lot.
You grabbed him and saved him. You brought him over. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't want to hear that, but you did. I think.
Absolutely.
And you brought him over. Now he's a believer. He's following Christ, and he still is. I don't know the story, but there's something there. And I think if you let him go, the enemy will be right there to try to pull him back. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. I don't know the whole story, but I can see the handiwork of Satan behind a lot of stuff. So you know what I mean? Absolutely.
But I trust in Jesus, and no matter where it is. We have children together. I believe that I will come to a place where we'll be okay as co-parents.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's all that matters. So
Absolutely.
I love this. I love this who you are and you being so transparent. I know that you're going to be able to help a lot of women who are listening right now because a lot of women are at a point, especially now, where we're trying to find ourselves. And I think so often, those of us like yourself and me who was forced into adulthood earlier than what we should have been. We were exposed to things earlier than what we should have been. So we kind of got lost in that discovering state, right? And
Absolutely.
I love that you can be so transparent right now and say, I'm still trying to figure it out. I think I say every moment, every day, I am still trying to figure this thing out. I have no idea. And especially when the enemy is coming at you in every direction. Let me ask you, you said that you just met your father 2 years ago. How did that come about?
Oh Lord. Okay. So my mom, and again, as we grow, right,
Yeah.
we see things from a different lens than what
Mm-hmm.
we do as children. So as a child, I had so much resentment from my mom not giving me any information on my dad. All I knew was the name and where he used to work. I knew that he used to work at the Wegmans warehouse, and I knew his name. And then, my mom passed away. And so I carried a lot of resentment for the fact that you knew information about my father that you didn't give to me. And so now here I am out here in this world. I lost you. I have nobody. I'm by myself. I don't I've now there's the identity issue going on, that who is Sarah? And I think that plays a part in me figuring out who I am now, right? And so I kind of had come to a place where it was just like, well, he's probably dead anyways at this point. My mom was 42 when she had me. I'm assuming he was around that age or older. It is what it is. Like, let it go, move forward. But there was something inside of me that couldn't. And so as a young lady, right, I would daydream. I would daydream my father being there when I had my children, him being there walking me down the aisle, or even circumstances and situations that if he would have been there, would they have been different?
Yeah.
What would be so different in my life had he have been there, right? And so I was on the phone with someone, and they were saying how they did the 23andMe. And so they were like, "Oh, I got an extra one. I'm gonna send it to you." And I'm like, "Okay, not for nothing, then I could at least find family." I knew
Yeah.
I knew I had I also knew I had two siblings. And so I knew the names. And so I'm like, "Okay, well, I could probably connect with them, and that'd be good enough for me." What we got to stop doing is putting a cap on what's good enough for us. We have to stop boxing with, okay, well, I'll settle for this. If I could just have that, right?
Yeah.
Because what we think is good enough for us, right? Jesus, man, it's if we could just take a peek at what his is just good enough compared to us, our minds will be blown. And I
Come on.
think that we
Yeah.
will fall in line and alignment with Jesus way before we really actually do, right?
Come
And
on.
so I ended up doing that. It came back that I had a connection to a cousin. And here I am saying, I'll be okay even if I find family. I was still disappointed.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening was he connected me to some other family. That family reached out to me and was asking a whole bunch of questions. And I'm like, lady, you listen, I don't know who you are. Leave me
Right.
alone. You asking these repetitive questions that everybody's asked me and gotten nowhere.
Yeah.
I've typed the name in Google and I've gotten nowhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Within 24 hours, I was on the phone with my father.
Wow.
I was at work. And I got a phone. I got the text inbox Facebook. Can you call me now? From the lady. Called her. She's like, I found your dad. And I'm
Wow.
like, honey, I don't know if you found my dad. Like,
Yeah.
and
I guess.
she's like, no, I found your dad. Like, you listen, I'm gonna get you the number. So I got the number for my sister. I called her, and she was like, listen, he been looking for you.
Oh.
I put out a Facebook post. She sent me the Facebook post. I've been trying to find you. And then I spoke to him. And so
Wow.
in conversations, right, and reconnecting, what I learned was that my resentment from my mother dissolved. My mother was broken from that man.
Got
And
it.
while I understand the actions may not have been right, I think that what my mom was doing was protecting me
Protecting you.
from being broken like she was. What I also learned is God's timing and our timing are two different timings.
Yeah.
And so I was actually in my sister's home a few years ago and didn't even know that it was my sister.
No way. You guys live there?
I was in her home in my prior position. I did house calls. And so her son's girlfriend, I was working with her. And I was actually in the home 2 or 3 times and didn't even know that this was my sister's house. And so again, right? Our timing and what we want and what we need. We may feel that this is what we need at this time that we need it, but Jesus knows when we really do need it.
Wow.
And so it has been a journey being able to close that gate of identity issue, right?
Yeah.
Of being able to look at my father, at my siblings, being able to hear stories, being able to just heal that peace within me, right? From a little girl.
Yeah.
From a little girl, not from Sarah when she was 37 going on 38.
Come on.
But from Sarah as a little girl who didn't know who her father was, what he looked like. If he walks past me, I wouldn't know who he was. And I settled on the fact of, oh, I hate this man. If I could meet this man today, you know, I would go off on him. I would do this, I would do that. And literally the first phone call, I felt the healing from the little girl in me.
Wow. Sarah, I think just with being an emotional connection, I would love for you to share with some of the listeners who may have been or may be in a situation such as yours. What would you say to them? Would you recommend pursuing and trying to figure out who this person is?
What I say is this. We can say all we want that we don't care. I'm too old. I've already had children. I've already gotten married. I've already missed, past the point where I needed a father. There is no point in life, as long as you have breath in your body, where you could pass needing a father.
Yeah.
There is so much healing that can go forth with reconnecting with a father. There are so many areas, right, in the questions. And I'm not sitting here saying that every person who goes out and reconnects is going to get this. I don't even want to say fairy tale ending, right? Because I believe that there's a reason for every connection. And even if it's to get closure, right? Even if it's to connect you in other areas or aspects of your life, right? If your heart's desire is for that, for whatever reason, there is never a point in life where, oh, it's too late. Pursue it. Get the healing that you are in need of, because if you don't do it, there's going to always be that voice in the back of your head, the what if.
Yeah. You know what? I think about it another thing too, because God knows our heart. He probably know that you needed that, because as you said, you don't resent your mother, you don't resent him. That forgiveness, all this is off for you.
So many things that I wasn't even looking to reconnect for happened. I'm just like, I just want to know what I look like. I just want to know. And even in conversation, we said that even just the other day, him and I were in conversation, and I stopped him and I said, it is so funny to even hear some of the things that you say that are the things that I say, right? Just his demeanor, just the things that he does. It's like, I am you.
Yep.
I am you.
Oh my gosh. Sarah, looking back at your journey now, what are you most proud of?
I am most proud of taking the situation and and not allowing it to consume me like the enemy's plans were.
Yeah.
I am most proud of being able, even at that time. See, this is the thing. And it's so much that I feel like I'm bouncing all over the place.
No,
Even though I did not know personally Christ, his hand has been on my life before I was even born. No, my family, right? My mom did not know Jesus, my siblings, none of them, right?
Yeah.
But I remember as a little girl, my friend, her mother was saved. Today, that woman is my godmother, right? Years later, I was in Rochester for a period of time. We moved out of state. We came back. When I came back, I was in high school at this point, and my high school best friend, her mother, saved. So even though the immediate and the direct, right, God has strategically placed people around me to remind me of who he is, right? My husband, even his family, both sides.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So it was meant to come, right? It was meant to and aside from everybody around me, right?
Yeah.
I'm called.
Absolutely.
I'm called. And so we still have to answer though.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud of in fear of the unknown, right? In a vulnerable place, in a place where I had nothing, to be able to answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so proud of that because like I said, it has grown my relationship with Christ. Even now in this season, right? You have got to be broken down in order to be rebuilt.
Absolutely.
You,
Absolutely.
I can't just take this foundation and just slap some paint on it and just call it new, right? No, sometimes it'll work, right? You got a little patch that needs to be worked on. That paint will do it, right? But when I need to tear the whole foundation, when you start building on other things, right? When you start swaying, right? Okay, now it's time that I have to come in and I have to rip this entire foundation down and I have to rebuild you.
100%.
And because of what I did then, right? I'm in a place that I'm in total surrenderance. Because I trust that his purpose and his plan for whatever he is doing in me is much greater and much better than what I could ever do.
Come on, Sarah. Come on. I love that you continue to say that, how God will break down those things that we may exalt over him. And he always has a way of just bringing us back to, showing remember what I did for you. Remember what I did for you. And then we begin to build it up on a stronger foundation. Let me ask you, what would you say to your younger self?
Ooh. I know that I've healed from the younger version of me. And this is how I know. In the broken state, I remember looking at a picture of me in middle school. And I wept immediately. I wept. I wept for everything that person had to go through. I was molested several times. I was molested from family. I've been molested from friends' family. I wept from the heartache that she had to endure, right? From having to grow up at such a young age. I've been parenting since I was 15 years old. And the one thing about my mother in the time that she was here when I had my son, it was not her baby. I was 15 waking up in the middle of the night on my own.
Yeah.
There was no comforting. There was no, I'm here to support you. You want to have a baby, here's your baby. And so when I say I've been parenting since 15, I've been parenting since 15. And so I felt so bad that I took her through all of this. When I looked back again, that's when I knew I was healed, when there was no tears. Because now I look at it from a different perspective. Everything that I went through, molestation, having a baby at 15, losing my mom at 17, not knowing my father until almost 40 years old, married, divorced, married, going through another divorce, all of these things, right? But just to the younger version of me, right? Those things were meant to not allow me to stand where I'm standing now. Those things were meant to break me. Those things were meant to destroy me. Those things were meant to allow me to lose my mind.
Come on.
But Christ.
Come on.
He used every single one of those things to build me.
Ooh.
Okay, baby, they were stair steppers. Okay, to get me to where I am now. It has caused me to be so strong.
Come on.
To build resilience.
Come on.
to strengthen my relationship with Christ, right? To know that, again, I just the other day, just Saturday, I sat in my living room on my knees crying. I've heard this song maybe about 10 times, right?
Yeah.
And I can't even think of the name of this because the song is, man, so beautiful. And all 10 times that I heard the song, I was like, yeah, this is a good song. I love this song. Oh, yeah, right? This is a great worship song. But on the 10th time, when those words resonated, when I tell you the revelation, it was literally Christ whispering in my ear. And the words were, can you meet me here in the middle? That's where I know where you will be, right? It says, I can't go back to the beginning. I don't know what tomorrow holds, right? But if you just bring me back to that first time when I seen your face, I lost it. Because it was at that moment, literally the confirmation. Sarah, I want to bring you back to that place where there was total, you without a doubt. When I told you to go, you went. Ooh. When I told you to stand, you stood. When I told you to release and relinquish, you released and relinquished. You did not question. And so I'm grateful because that's what you're doing with me right now. You're taking me back.
Come on.
To that place in the middle where I know that you will be, where I know that you're going to meet me. And you're going to do greater and bigger and better things within me.
Oh my gosh. I need that. I need the name of that song, Sarah.
I got it while you're talking to me. I have to, because I'm telling you, the song is it's a great song. It's a great song.
Okay. Well, send it to me. But before you do, I want to ask you to tell us what's next in Sarah's life. What dreams are you working on and hoping to achieve?
So because the big thing with me and total transparency is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this what you're calling me to do?
Yeah.
Send me a sign.
Yeah.
Well, I see that sign, but this time send it and I want neon lights flashing. And the neon lights are flashing. And I'm like, but was that really for me? Because that was too quick. I just asked you and then you just, but what I've learned and what I'm learning in this place that I'm in, right? God hears you. He's responded. But are you in a place to receive?
Oof.
And what I found out was, Sarah, this whole time he was talking, he was giving you what you were asking for, but you weren't in alignment and in position to receive it. And so once I got myself into alignment, right? And you know, for me, because I know everybody else, all of your listeners, they are sold out for Jesus and they're doing everything perfectly and correct and according to his plan and his will. But for me, right, I got to a place of complacency. I got to a place where Jesus wasn't the first person I went to.
Yeah.
Let me call my friend. Let me do this. Let me do this, right? Where the Bible sat a little too long, right?
Yeah.
Where the prayer life, it wasn't as existent as it should be, right? Where initially you're gung-ho and giddy. I want to go to Sunday service, Wednesday service, Tuesday service, your service, my service, to routine. It's a routine now.
Yeah.
And the God that I serve is not a routine.
No.
It's not a routine.
You don't recognize time. None of that.
No. We got to stop that. We have to stop. Okay, I get up, I do this. Thank you, Jesus. Read a scripture. No, he's drawing for complete intimacy. He's drawing for prioritization. He is drawing that. And so once I said, okay, wait, my emotions are all over the place. It's so much chaos and confusion. I don't know up from down, left from right. Whoa.
Yeah.
I can't do this. Once I said, let me stop this and let me move into this, right? Once I realigned and once I got back into prayer, once I got back into this word, right? That chaos and that confusion, it's got to go somewhere else, right? Because if I read it, I got to believe it. You understand me? If it's in this word, it has to be. And what I do know is that what God says is what he says. It's going to come, right? But we forget the piece of being in alignment to get what God has given.
Yeah.
Even the word, even what we're asking for.
Yeah.
You're not even in position to hear from me.
Yeah.
You sitting here, you haven't prayed to me in 4 months, and you talking about give you a sign. Girl, the sign is get on your knees and start getting into prayer.
And you will see that I gave it to you when you asked for it.
I gave it.
It was been there the whole time.
It's there. It's there. So for me right now is to continue, right? One, knowing that you're knowing who you are.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know who you are, man, people will tell you some stuff. You got to know who you are. And in order to know who you are, right, you have to be in relationship with Christ.
Yeah. Yeah.
To know fearfully and wonderfully made, right?
Come
right? On. To know who you are and not be shaken by what other people's opinions and views and all of that other stuff, right? Even in that comparison, there were seasons where I was in comparison of other people.
Come on.
You know, oh, well, they doing this and I'm they got this, you know, well, she doing this, so I can't do.
Right. Oh, come on.
It's not one person having a podcast. It's not one person writing a book. It's not one person opening a restaurant. It's not one person that has a tailor shop. There's so many different people in this world and so many different stories of so many different people that we are going through what we go through and have gone through what we've gone through to bear witness to people just like us. Because this is the reality. Why would I want to sit around you and hear your story when you haven't even endured anything that I've endured? But if you could tell me, oh, you've been divorced, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been molested, me too.
Come on,
Sarah. You're the only biracial me too. You didn't know your dad? Me either, right? Now I'm gonna lean in a little closer. Now I do want to hear what you have to say. So we sit here and we look at these things like, whoa, it's me. Why, God? Why do I have to go through? Why not you?
Come on, Sarah.
This is what you were created for. This is what he been. Why not you?
Yeah.
No, you, in order to be a witness, if you sit there and you look at it, right? 9 times out of 10, when we sit around here, we say, man, what is my purpose? What am I purpose? What am I purpose? Well, what have you been through?
That part.
Because what you've been through is tied and connected to what God is calling you to do. So for me, is to continue being in this consistent. Because consistency is key in everything we do. Being in this consistent place with Christ, no matter what's going on around me, no matter what's changing, right? No matter what's being taken away, what's being put down, I'm being consistent in Christ. I do have there's a few things going on. I did start a podcast. So in October I turned 40. And I said it's time out for playing with Jesus. And it's time for you to walk in what he's calling you to. And as you walk, he will provide. And so I started a birthday gift to myself. I started a podcast, Women of Passion and Purpose. And you know, the enemy is busy. So in the midst of me starting my podcast, I got a couple episodes, and it's really just a diary of my thoughts in that moment. You know, I got shut down. They came in and said I used inappropriate language or something, right? Google shut me down. So and initially I'm like, well, I got too much going on anyways. I don't. The devil is a lie.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to restart that from a different channel. So I want to continue with my podcast. I want to continue to just be a voice. That is what I want to do. I want to continue to be able to bear witness, even in the midst of my own trials. I want to continue to be open and transparent, and be used in any way that Christ wants to use me. I also want to be able to reflect in my integrity and in my character, that I just don't spew from my mouth that I'm a follower and a lover of Christ, but in my character, in my integrity, that I display that as well.
Oh, Sarah. Oh, I can't wait to tell you what is on my mind right now. And let me just say this, you're going to do just that. You are going to do just that. I think God is working on you in so many different ways. You just gave us another example of how God will tear down things. So we shouldn't be discouraged when we start something and God says, no, that's not what I want you to do. Instead of having you waste more time, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down real quick, and I'm going to redirect you. Absolutely. And I feel like that's what God has been doing with you. So you just wait to see where he's going to bring you. Okay, absolutely. Sarah, we could talk forever. I absolutely love talking to you. I'm all leaned in. I didn't forgot where I was a couple of times. I was like, okay, come back. But your story is one that's going to reach so many women, as you said before. So thank you so much for coming on the Woman Witness podcast and sharing your story and your truth. Tell us where to find you and where to follow you right now.
Yes. So I believe, oh gosh, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because I changed my name. I believe it's Sarah_Elizabeth on Instagram. And then on Facebook, it is Sara Elizabeth.
Okay. And I'll put it in the description below.
Yeah.
I didn't put it in the notes, but I will put it in the description below. So you guys can definitely, and it'll probably be flashing across the screen when we post the episode.
Thank you.
So please follow Sarah, get in touch with her, give us some feedback. Ladies, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I want to thank my guest, Sara Meeks. Thank you so much for coming and pouring us.
Thank you.
You are amazing. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. And perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time, bye.